Hello, my lovely grade 4 students. How are you? In this video, we are going to make a revision for our final exam. I just want to tell you what to study in each lesson. Our first lesson is about the skeleton. First, I just want you to remember the parts of our skeleton. You know that the human skeleton is made up of three main parts. First, we have the head. Then we have the trunk, this is the trunk, and we have the limbs third, the upper limbs and the lower limbs. Okay, first we have the head. In the head we have the skull. In the trunk we have the scapula, the rib cage اللي هن ribs, and we have the pelvis. يعني عم نعد البونز بكل part in our body. In the upper limbs, we have arm bone, the elbow, forearm, and hand. هذا upper كل شي خاصه بالhand. And in the lower limbs, we have thigh, knee, leg, and foot. Then I just want you to study the 2 pages of practicing. I practice more. You have here to label this skeleton, and then you have to define the skeleton. The skeleton is the set of bones of the human body, and you should remember that the 3 parts are the head, the trunk, the upper and lower limbs. You have also to study this page, to write the bones here in each part, and you have also to write here the 3 groups of skeletal bones. These are the vertebral column, the rib cage, and the skull. Okay, don't forget the 2 functions of the skeleton and the last part in this page. You should also remember that these 3 groups of skeletal bones protect delicate parts in our body. Let's start with the skull. The skull protects the brain. The rib cage protects the lungs and the heart. And the vertebral column protects the spinal cord. Our second lesson is about the articulations. In this lesson, I just want you to remember that there are 3 types of articulations. Mobile articulations like the elbows articulation, semi-mobile articulations like a vertebrae's articulation, and fixed articulations like the articulation of the skull, bones. I also want you to study, I practice more. You have to define an articulation and then give its role. Okay? An articulation is a junction between 2 or more bones. يعني هي نقطة التواصل بين 2 or more bones. Its role شو دورة؟ An articulation allows a wide variety of movements. هي اللي بتخلينا نعمل movements. Okay? To study all the page and then remember the 3 types of articulations: mobile articulations, semi-mobile articulations, and fixed articulations. Fixed لازم نحفظ انه بس عنا السكال. semi-mobile عندي بس الvertebrae. all the other articulations اللي نحن بنعرفهم هن كلهم mobile articulations. All these articulations, shoulder, elbow, knee, wrist, hip, and ankle, all these are mobile articulation. I also want you to study this page. Movements is our third lesson. First, I want you to remember this conclusion. Muscles are able to contract or relax. By contracting, the muscle becomes harder and shorter, so it moves the bones and together produce a movement. And by relaxing, the muscle becomes soft. Muscles of the opposite actions are called antagonistic muscles, like the muscles of the arm, يلي هني biceps, and triceps muscles. First, I want you to study the first page of I Practice More by solving numbers 1 and 2. Let's remember number 2 together. I am a muscle found in front of the arm bone. This is the biceps muscle, and the muscle that's found behind the arm bone, this is the triceps muscle. The movement that allows the approach of the forearm towards the arm. This is called deflection. يعني بتقرب الforearm bones لعند الarm. يعني the bones become closer to each other. This is called deflection or bending. And the movement that allows the moving away of the forearm of the arm. يعني bones of the forearm, they will be far away from the bone of the arm. This is called extension. I want you to study this page, and you have to memorize also what happens during flexion and what happens during extension. During flexion, as shown in this figure, this is a flexion of the forearm. The biceps contracts. هاي البايسبس contracts. كيف يعني contracts? It hardens and shortens, while the triceps relaxes and the bones of the forearm approach to the arm. Okay? You have to study this page also. And finally, I want you to study this page also. And let's remember what happens during extension of the forearm. يعني movement B, this is extension. What happens to the muscles? Look, this is the biceps and this is the triceps muscle. Say that which muscle contracts? Muscle 2 يعني triceps. The triceps contracts, hardens and thickens while the biceps muscle relaxes. Okay, and the bones of the forearm move away from the arm bone. Okay, our fourth lesson is about food. In this lesson, I just want you to study the groups of food and their importance to our body. Okay, you have to remember that according to what they supply our body with, these foods are classified into 6 groups. Okay, group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, group 1 gives us protein, 2 calcium. Group 3 is rich in fats, 4 starch and sugar, 5 vitamins, fibers. Group 6 is rich in water. But according to the role of the food, يعني حسب دورهم الفود شو بيعملوا, they are classified into 3 groups يلي هن bodybuilding foods, يلي هن groups 1 and 2, energy giving foods 3 and 4, and protective foods, which is group 5 and 6 also. Okay? So you have also to study this matching here, and then I want you to study number 3 in this page. It's page 200, and number 1 also on page 203. Okay, till part D, of course. Okay, our last lesson is about mixtures. In this lesson, we are going to remember the kinds of mixtures: homogeneous and heterogeneous. A homogeneous mixture is a mixture whose constituents, يعني مكوناته, cannot be distinguished with the naked eye. يعني أنا ما بقدر ميز محتوياته لهذا المixture, like water and salt or water and vinegar. While a heterogeneous mixture is a mixture whose constituents can be distinguished with the naked eye, like water and oil, for example. Okay? Finally, I want you to study the 2 pages of I Practice More, this page and this one, with number 2 and number 3 also. Okay? Finally, I just want to tell you that I believe in you all and waiting for your great achievements in our final exam.